everybody, it's Josh Welgus. You know me as Ghillie, and I am here today to unbox the entire Too Many Bones Unbreakable cycle of content for you. There is so much stuff here in this release, and we're going to show it all off to you. Let's dive in. All right, let's dive into the Unbreakable base game. You've got this beautiful cover art that we've been showing since the campaign started. We've got the underside of the box lid with printing on it, as always. We've got the rulebook here. Are there secrets on the back of the rulebook? Who knows? And just like this one is actually designed a lot like Undertow. So you've got your two boxes for loot and encounters. There are lots and lots of loots and a handful of encounters. You got your campaign cards for the shortened campaign mode in the game. Lots of good stuff there. You got your day counter. You got your new fancy encounter cover. We've got the tyrants here. Rock and roll, Domina Scouts get a card, Tyrant encounters, and then lots and lots and lots of encounters. All right, we've got foam. Then, as anyone who's ever purchased Unbreakable, or Undertow, I should say, also the base game now has this basic same box layout. We've got our attack dice, we've got our effect dice, our initiative dice, we've got tyrant dice in here, all that good stuff, lockpicking dice. I should show off, though, we've got the new bead, which is not a bead at all, because everyone hates beads. We've got the new tracker for the adventure map, and then we've also got these scar tokens, which work with Gale, who is sort of a rebuilt cyborgish type character. In here, we've got the rest of the dice. So these are all of Gale and Figment's actual skill dice and their stat dice. And then we've got health chips, lane markers, and then lots and lots and lots of baddie chips in here. And then if I can find them, we've also got the we've got Figment's phase chip right here, and their character chip. And I want to find and then you've got lots of these lava chips. So a huge part of Unbreakable is the new battle mat that has lava chips that flip. And so we've got the actual lava side right here, and then we've got their non-lava side here. And then, of course, brand new, the extra thick day counter chip, which is much easier to turn in your adventure map. Finally, we've got the mats. So we've got the new battle mat right here, which I actually flipped upside down. Whoops. We've got the new battle mat, which is very Swiss cheese-like. And then we've got our actual gear lock mats right here, Figment and Gale. And then, of course, underneath there is their actual reference cards that I will use my fingernails to get out of the bottom of the box. There we go. So we've got Figment, we've got Gale, and then we've got this brand new, the brand new Garg, the Gearlock Adventuring Reference Guide, which has been redesigned and had all the enemy skills pulled away from it. And then we've got this Master Baddie Skills Reference, which covers every baddie skill in the entire Too Many Bones universe. We are not planning on adding any more enemy skills, so this covers absolutely everything. And this allows us to not have to put more baddie skill reference cards into all of the smaller content expansions, which has allowed us to, as you'll see momentarily, has allowed us to shrink those boxes considerably. Then underneath here, obviously, you've got some more art on the inside of the box. And that, my friends, is Too Many Bones Unbreakable. All right, let's dive into the new Gearlock Polaris. So you can see Polaris's box right here. I'm going to lift that up. You have art on the underside of the lid, as usual. And just like all Gearlocks, you've got this foam supporting the dice tray here. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to remove the lid on this dice tray. Now, one of the coolest things that Polaris comes with are these little orb tokens. And these are made of actual metal. In the game, they represent magnets. They aren't actually magnets here. They are just, I believe, anodized metal. And the way that these work is on her character mat, you actually place them, and she can move them around to use various effects in battle. So all of these positions on her character mat represent positions on the battle mat. So you've got these side positions in case you're playing the Undertow battle mat. Otherwise, you would use the standard 4x4 grid for the base game or for Too Many Bones Unbreakable. And again, she can move them and pull them and manipulate them in a variety of ways to enhance her combat skills. And like I already showed you, you've got her stat dice, you've got her initiative die, and you've got all her skill dice here, and her character chip, of course. And then we've got her character mat here, and underneath that, Polaris actually has two different reference cards. So along with her ability to manipulate magnets, Polaris also has a delve capability, which allows her to go exploring and spelunking, essentially. So this skill sheet covers that mechanic for her specifically. And then, of course, just like all the Gearlocks, you've got a skill reference sheet here and her critical details and backup plan on the other side. All right, let's tackle Static. Static is a electric martial arts Gearlock. Again, we've got the art on the underside of the box and the foam and the dice tray as usual. Now, one of the things that makes Static really cool is they have these extra chips here that actually go in the enemy health stack and perform various effects attached to Static's skills. So you've got Static's actual chip, stat dice, of course, initiative die, and their skill dice as well. We've got Static's mat here. And then you've got their reference card, of course. Backup plan and critical details on the back. All right, time to dive into my personal favorite Gearlock from this cycle, because I worked on him. Carcass. We've got the box cover, of course, again, the art on the underside. We've got the foam and the dice tray, but Carcass comes with a few extra special things. We've got his chip, we've got his skill dice in here and his stat dice. You understand how all those things work. But something that makes Carcass very unique is he's got recipe cards. So all of these serve as potential recipes that you can actually cook in the game using the baddies that you collect and put on your meat hooks. It's all very morbid, and I love that about it. But so you can see there's a place to place baddies here, and these actually go in your loot area and perform various effects based on the types of baddies that you combine with these recipes. Now, along with the recipe cards to be used in-game, outside of the game, we've got this fabulous Cookin' with Carcass cookbook. And I just want to shout out the entire Too Many Bones community for submitting recipes. We've got banana nana chocolate chip bread, too many scones. We've got a variety of just amazing Too Many Bones themed recipes that you can actually cook and are actually delicious. Probably. I haven't cooked any of them personally, but we do recommend that you cook through this entire book before playing with Carcass. That will bring you, it's much more immersive that way. It's very important. Of course, we've got Carcass's battle character mat right there. And then, just like all the other characters, we've got Carcass's reference sheet with critical details and backup plan on the back. Okay, let's dive into all the additional content expansions that are releasing as a part of the Unbreakable cycle. We're going to start with what is not a new content expansion at all. In fact, this is one of our oldest content expansions, but it is in a brand new, adorable package. So you heard me mention that in Unbreakable, we have a exhaustive baddie skill reference card that has all the baddie skills from the entire Too Many Bones line. Because of including that in both Unbreakable as well as Undertow and even the base game moving forward, we now can shrink these boxes down to this adorable and very cute size. So this is all the same content that's always been in 40 Days in Daylore, but now in this dramatically smaller package. So you've got your 15 baddies right here, and you've got 40 unique encounters inside of this deck box. Okay, let's dive into the new content expansions. So we've got 40 Days in Daylore, but now we have 40 Waves in Daylore. 40 Waves in Daylore is a brand new content expansion specifically for Too Many Bones Undertow. So this is going to have brand new encounters that work specifically with the Undertow battle mat. So we've got the Southern Daylore map as a part of the inside of that box. And then in here, we actually have 16 brand new mech and Krelm. I should use my plurals correctly. And some of these are my absolute favorites in the entire Too Many Bones line. Specifically, Bad E right here was a fan favorite when we showed off that. We've got the G800 mech that's going to chase after you, probably made of liquid metal. I don't know. But some of these baddies are both really, really fun in theme, and the art for them is really great as well. And then, of course, we've got the actual encounters that are a part of this expansion. And we've got a little reference card here that tells you how to integrate this into your game of Undertow, along with lots of new encounters for you to try in the game. Now, you've heard of 40 Waves in Daylore, but what about 40 Caves in Daylore? This, of course, is the expansion that everyone who backed the Too Many Bones Unbreakable campaign received for free. And again, we never dreamed we would take in enough funding to turn this into a full-fledged 40 encounter, 15 baddie expansion, but here we are. So let's take a look at what's in here. So on the underside, you've got the Unbreakable artwork. You've got 15 baddies in here. And again, these are all going to be baddies that work specifically with the Unbreakable battle mat. So they're going to have skills like Brimstone and Lava Flow that make your life miserable, specifically on the Unbreakable battle mat. So those are super interesting in conjunction with Unbreakable. Back in there. And then, of course, we've got encounters. And these 40 counters, again, are designed specifically to work with the Unbreakable battle mat and so forth. So these are all going to be things that play with the lava chip mechanic. And then we also have an additional Cinder encounter here, which is one of the tyrants in in Too Many Bones Unbreakable. All right, let's dive into the content expansion that I'm perhaps most excited about, and that's Rage of Tyranny. This is also the expansion we've spent the least amount of time showing you things from and talking about, really. And what this is designed to do is to make your old content new again. We've had a lot of folks who, after playing Too Many Bones for many years, feel like they know the exact strategies to take down some of those old base game tyrants, the Undertow tyrants. You know, they know how to one-shot some of these tyrants with, with various skills and certain builds. So really what we set out to do with this expansion, again, is to make all that stuff challenging again, even for veteran players. So let's dive into everything that's in this box. We've got Undertow printing on the underside of that box. And there's a bunch of stuff in here. Let's start with the chips, I think. So these are not just new baddies for the game. These are all things that interact with the tyrants in interesting ways. So, for example, we've got a brand new version of the Goblin Queen. Now, that's actually not for the Goblin Queen's campaign. That's for the Goblin King's campaign. So now you get a chance to see how the Goblin King and the Goblin Queen interact. And it's a an interesting marriage. Let's just say that. So alongside that, we've got a brand new version of Nightshade for Duster. Gendrix's orbs actually get their own chips in this expansion that do a variety of things and interact in new ways. We've got lieutenants for the orcs for Mero's campaign. We've got a brand new version of Abomination for Nobulus's campaign. There's just a bunch of interesting stuff that changes up the way that you may have experienced some of these tyrants in the past. So that's the chips. We've got cards. I'm going to tackle those last, but there's also new dice in here that new tyrant dice, and those again interact in a variety of ways based on whichever tyrant that you're going after. So some of the shadow cards that I'll talk about here in a second may interact with these new tyrant dice. Generally speaking, we're still using the old classic tyrant dice for these tyrants, but we may have given them new effects and that kind of thing. Then onto the cards. There's a bunch of interesting cards in here. So there's some new loot cards. These interact with the Goblin campaigns, and they're bad loot that you're going to shuffle into your loot deck, which is annoying. We've got a rules card, 2 rules cards actually, that are going to tell you how to integrate this content. Then there's 2 different types of things going on here with the rest of this deck. The first is we've just got a bunch of new day 1 through 3 or day 1 and 2 cards for Too Many Bones and for Too Many Bones Undertow. So you can integrate these without any of the other Rage content if you want, similar to the ones in Age of Tyranny. And these just add new options for day 1, 2, 3 in Too Many Bones and day 1 and 2 in Undertow. Just brand new options so that you can avoid the fatigue of constantly going through the same content all the time. Then we've got the actual new Tyrant cards and their shadows. So all of these Tyrant cards have been given a red background and then a angry adjective, Rage of Tyranny. So all of these are angry tyrants. They're full of rage, right? So you got Wrathful Barnacle, you've got Incensed Goblin Queen, Furious Colossum, Cantankerous Nobulus, Apoplectic Abomination 2.0, and my favorite, of course, is Hangry Nom. Then all of these have a shadow card that goes along with them too. So these shadow cards are going to be things that integrate with the rest of your campaign and make that tyrant feel even more present throughout the campaign. If you've ever played any of the tyrants from Splice and Dice, we really made an effort to make the tyrant factor into almost every encounter in an interesting way. And these shadow cards that you'll see here really do kind of that same thing, where they're going to bring the influence of that tyrant to the forefront of your entire campaign, rather than it just being a boss that you fight at the end. So between the new Tyrant cards and new Tyrant final battles that you'll see, we've changed up the way that those Tyrant dice work, given them new skills in many cases. Really, again, we're trying to make all of your old content new again. That's really the entire theme of this expansion. All right, and last but not least, but also kind of least, to be totally honest with you, is the Too Many Bones crossover loot pack. Now, this was something that we gave away for free to anyone who followed the Too Many Bones Unbreakable campaign before the campaign launched. You could also pick it up in the Pledge Manager for $5 after the campaign launched. And these are just 3 loot cards that have tie-ins to other chip theory games that we've been making in just kind of a cute wink sort of way. Now, I should mention, this is not available for purchase on chiptheorygames.com right now, as it is a promo. So these will be available during our standard promo window from Black Friday until New Year's this coming holiday season. But we are going to show it off to you now. So this is the packaging, as you can see. We can quick open it up. And here we are. So I'm going to pull these out. One of these is my favorite loot card, maybe in all of Too Many Bones now. So we have the Convoluted Hummingbird, the Command Module, and the Dusk Breaker. The Convoluted Hummingbird is an obvious nod to the Elfinkazi birds, these kamikaze hummingbirds from Cloudspire. And what we've done, now we receive a lot of rules questions about Cloudspire in general, but the Elfinkazi has remained the thing that we get asked about the absolute most, clarification on how they work. and it's become a bit legendary. So what we have done is we've taken the actual rules for the Elf-en-Kazi from Cloudspire, and we've put them here as flavor text for you on the Convoluted Hummingbird loot card, which is great. We've got a command module from Burn Cycle, and then we've got the Duskbreaker, which is a wink at the Dawnbreaker sword from Skyrim that ties into, obviously, the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era that we just wrapped the campaign for. So this is the crossover loot pack. Again, it will be available for purchase if you missed it during the holidays this coming year. Enjoy. All right, now all of this content will be fulfilling to backers of the GameFound campaign throughout the next couple of months. However, if you missed out on the campaign, you can pre-order all of this stuff over at chiptheorygames.com. Pre-orders will be fulfilling just as soon as the GameFound campaign is finished fulfilling worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.